There we go. All right, we are live. I am DBJ. This is probably going to be on my channel after being away for quite a while. I have with me two victims. We're going to play a kind of a test run of my system called the one-line RPG. Essentially, you make a narrative line, and each portion of your narrative allows you to gain an extra D6 to roll. Pretty minor stuff, but we are going to play a conspiracy game. Modern day conspiracies, and we will round robin our GM techniques. We'll see how that goes. Anyway, something experimental, something fun, and take it away, either of you guys. Introduce yourselves.
Hi, my name is Philip Posey. I run the channel Maps and Dragons, and today I'll be playing a character named Hunter Moore. Now, Hunter Moore is a charming spy who kills with brutality. So, there will be blood. Garth, tell us about your character.
Hey, I'm Garth. I don't have a channel, but I'm running Agent Owens, a retired FBI assistant director who's now an undercover hacker who believes he's been part of a psionics experiment. And DBJ.
And I'm playing Sean Evans, a disgraced political aide with keys to blackmail files. And he was involved in a sex scandal with a senator, was blackballed from the political community in Washington, D.C., decided to move home and live in his mom's basement, waiting for bigger and better things to come as he began taking pottery classes and dance classes and hanging out with his friends. But I am going to start the scene off, but we're going to get an introduction of their characters and kind of who they are or what they do, starting with Philip Pose. Take it away.
All right. So we're here on the Upper West Side, 143rd, Dominican Harlem. We're inside of an apartment building, and we look out on the street. We see Hunter Moore, and he has his hand up against the window pane. He's looking down. Down at the table is a set of bullets. There's a small grinder. He sits down with it. He writes down a name on the bullet. It says, Natasha. He loads it into the clip, smacks it into his Walther PPK. In his other pocket, a silencer. He throws on a crisp white shirt, buttons it up to the top, puts on his black jacket, has a little gun holster. He walks over to the door. He unlocks it. Click. He makes his way downstairs. He's 5 flights up. He walks out. There's a brisk morning. The leaves are just turning colors in New York. He walks down the street, harassed. Some people trying to sell him drugs. Just the usual fare. He goes down to the subway, takes the A train, and as he's sitting down on the A train, he thinks to himself, when you're riding the subway, you only feel comfortable looking at other people's feet. You can tell a lot by a person about their shoes. He looks over at the woman. She has on pumps, 7 inches, stilettos, black patent leather. She has pantyhose that have a run in them. He looks up at her face. Her eyes look like bruised fruit. Someone's been smacking her around. He raises an eyebrow. It's the kind of man he hates. When the train pulls into Grand Central Station, the doors open up and it has that fart smell of steam, and it blows through the air. He puts his hand inside of his pocket. He can feel his Walther PPK pressing up against his ribs, calling out to him. The man that he's looking for is supposed to be showing up here at directly 1 o'clock. The man is wearing a gray suit and a white lapel with a pink flower. His name's supposed to be Johnny Cisco. It's the man that he has to kill today. He takes a step out onto the red line, and he makes his way up into the Grand Central Station. Above him, the painted constellations gleam and the light of the sun, and he looks around. I'll pass that off.
All right, Garth, you're up.
All right. G. Owens pays his hotel bill with the last of his grubby $20 bills. He's spent a night in a hotel. It's the first bed he slept in over a year. He gathers his laptop case and the duffel bag that contains all the clothes that he wore yesterday. On his way down the street, he throws the duffel bag near a trash can and keeps walking. He's making his way to Grand Central Station. A contact on the internet has let him know that this is his last chance to find the group that may have put him in the position that he has been finding himself for the last 10 years, which is homeless and on the run, believing that he has been part of a terrible experimental program. And he's not sure who ran it, and he's not sure what the purpose of it was, but he continues to have nightmares that he can't explain. He makes his way to Grand Central Station looking for the man in a gray suit with a white lapel and a pink carnation. DBJ?
Okay. The low murmur of tens of thousands of people moving in and out of Grand Central Station, trains coming into coming in, disgorging individuals, people leaving to go home for the evening, hotel lights flickering on as people spend the night near a hotel, knowing that they have a long night ahead of them as they work in their hotel rooms to go back to work again instead of going home. There are buses pulling up, disgorging people, travelers from around the world even. And unfortunately, there's this sense of dread on the outside as homeless people are asleep under the train bridges and roadways, highways, choked with cars coming in, taxi cabs, their lights on, people scrambling to find one to get out of the brisk wind and cold winds. There's a crispness in the air, as if snow is on the horizon. And as people make their way inside of the huge old marble pillars of the Grand Central Station, the original clock above you, 80 feet in the air, big arms moving. It's about 5 minutes to 1. And even at this late night, it's still packed with people trying to find their way. A mother trying to reach into her purse and look up at the marquee to find her travel as her child tries to run away from her, and she looks down and grabs a small child back. A young couple, newly in love, sitting and having public displays of public affection while they're waiting on the bench. Others standing waiting in line impatiently as they sit in the stand and wait for their food in the food court. But both of you, in various portions of the building, notice a small gaggle of people making noise, making their way from one train stop to the center of Grand Central Station. They look noisy. Their hair is colored wild. Young people. They seem as if they are making noise for the purposes solely to be heard. Tattoos, the latest fashions, their clothes are brightly colored, styled differently, It's a late night. People don't really want to be bothered, so they make their way a long, wide swath around these people. One of them sticks a skateboard down on the floor, and with a loud clatter, you can see in the corner there's a bored guard, um, a policeman officially, but basically a hired guard. He looks up bored, looks over at the kids. You can see he's contemplating something. Then he turns back to a young lady that he's trying to talk to, ignoring the young kids as they make their way towards the food court. And one of them stops, looks back up the tracks, and you see walking down, you hear the clatter of high heels, that very sharp, seems to bite through the sounds, the low murmur. High heels click their way down, and then you hear another set, very tall stilettos clicking down. And you see a gentleman in a gray suit, large, wide, white lapels. His hair is slicked back. He's got a pink flower through the buttonhole of his shirt. On both arms, two beautiful women, coats dangling off their shoulders, showing off their skin, their shapely figure, their high heels clicking on the hard marble floor as they make their way towards the center of Grand Central Station. People are looking over. Women are giving them the eye. They're very beautiful, tall, statuesque, hanging on this gentleman who, although he's dressed well, doesn't quite have the look to pull it off. He seems like he's putting on airs, dressed in his finest with these two young ladies. One of the young men looks back at him, of the small gaggle of kids. He looks back and runs over to the gentleman. He reaches in his pocket, makes a big flourish of pulling out a solid gold money clip with a lot of money into it, pulls out some bills, talks to the kid, says something to him, hands the kid some money, looks like 250s, and the kid runs over to his friends, and they go over and start talking to each other, and one of them with the skateboard looks around, takes the money, and skates off into the dark corners of Grand Central Station. The gentleman walks along. You see he's talking with the women, says something in one ear, says something to the other. They laugh unconvincingly at something that he said that was very funny, and he decides to take a seat on the bench, crosses his legs dramatically, holds his arms out, and the two ladies walk over and heading towards the ladies' room as they leave this place. He kind of looks around like he owns the place. He's got his hair's pulled back, the little small man bun in the back of his head. He looks around, and as the ladies leave, he pulls a handkerchief out of his pocket and starts to wipe a small bit of sweat from his brow and his upper lip. As the young people leave and the young lady leaves, there's a nervousness in his demeanor as he's looking around. This is now to you, Bill.
Hunter Moore, he's over at a food cart. By the side of the wall, it says Metro MTA. He's sitting and he's eating a hot dog, mustard, relish, and onions. And that's when he spots him, Cisco, walking with the women. He looks over to the woman who sold him the hot dog and he says, "The only sea I ever saw was a seesaw sea with you riding on it. Lay down, lay easy, let me shipwreck in your thighs." She looks perplexed, like, what the hell did you just say to me? He puts down a $20 bill and starts pacing behind the man. He grabs a newspaper from a bin, opens it up, whoosh, folds it down, and he's walking behind him. He sees the headline up top. Mayor of New York City has gone missing. So he sees the man walk over to the kids, pulls out a gold money clip, and starts handing them cash. Now, Hunter Moore knows that those are counterfeit bills. Hunter Moore knows that this guy is part of the Secret Service. He keeps following him. He sees the women go over into the bathroom. He walks in real slow, like some kind of giant predatory cat slinking through the bushes. He gets closer. His footsteps fall like a whisper. And when he gets behind the man, he says, "Oh, Cisco, I'm charmed to meet you." And that's when Cisco feels the round barrel of the Walter PPK press against his 13th spine, 13th vertebrae of his spine. Why don't you turn around and meet your end?
Cisco goes stiff, and his arms tighten. Visibly, you really don't see it, but you know his spine just gets a cold chill straight down, and he's like, "What? I knew you would be here for me. But listen, I've got a key. How much cash do you want? I can get as much as you need.
I'm listening.
10,000? 50,000. Whatever they're paying you, I'll double it."
You see Hunter's eyebrow cocks up. He's a man who's paid by money. He's as much as a mercenary as he is a spy. Turn around. Slow. I want a slow century of movement from you. Keep your hands at your side and turn around.
He slowly turns around. He says, "Listen, you don't want to do this. I'm here to meet a guy. He's going to blow this thing wide open, and I don't want to be here when it happens."
What thing?
It's bigger than it. Look, I'm just a small fish in a big ocean. You gotta understand. I've got connections, and he slowly reaches. He very deliberately is reaching to unbutton his jacket. It's a dress jacket.
Take it easy. Take it easy.
All right. He takes the button and undoes it and pulls his jacket back. And you're expecting a gun on his hip, gun stuck in his pants pocket, whatever. You see that, but also you see what looks to be an old-style chain for a watch, like you'd put into a zoot suit. You see that, and instead of a pocket watch hanging from it, you see it looks like a thumb drive of sorts. It's metal, gold clicks, but it's a thumb drive attached to his gold chain. And he says, "Listen, I'm here to give this to a guy. You can't do this. You can't do this. I'm expected to be somewhere at a certain time, and if you kill me, hell's gonna rain down on you. I swear."
Tell me, Cisco.
It's not for me. And you can tell he has no intention of trying to fight you, but he's paranoid.
No.
And he's just trying to cover it with a lot of bravado. But as this is going on, Garth, you see that Cisco has made his way. He's already there at Grand Central Station, and he's having this conversation with this gentleman. He seems a little nervous, but it doesn't seem too bad. Maybe the gentleman's asking him for direction somewhere. But knowing how Cisco contacted you, you're surprised that the way he talks about himself, that he doesn't have a woman or two on his hip, but you actually see these beautiful women. One's in a fur coat, one's got a long trench coat, and they're by the ladies' room. You notice something strange about one of the women over by the ladies' room.
I start to circle around Grand Central Station using the upper walkway, watching both men as they have this conversation, and I pay a special attention to the position of the one man's arm and the newspaper that he's holding, remembering my training as a FBI agent. The whole situation seems suspicious to me. I'm fingering a long gold chain with a USB drive in my pocket, wondering how I'm going to make this exchange when I see the two women by the ladies' room. And it seems like the kind of women who Cisco had described in his communications to me. So I begin to walk over in that direction.
Okay. You noticed they're laughing, giggling. One of them seems to be doing it a little strained. She has a strain in her voice, like she's laughing, maybe under duress. And you see the other woman. One woman's got very dark black, almost raven hair. The other one blonde. And you notice the woman in blonde is holding the raven-haired woman's wrist in such a way that it seems like it would break, almost like a wrist lock that maybe someone who knows either martial arts or in law enforcement would know. And she's holding the wrist, but she's smiling, as if to say, "Don't do anything, or I'll break it." And the other one's kind of like laughing, like, "Oh, you're so funny." And she's holding the wrist, and it looks like if she presses against it, it would break.
I keep an eye on that, but I decide it's too volatile to move in that direction. So I begin walking towards Cisco and the person who's been talking to him, trying to stay back and see if I can overhear anything that they're saying and pretend to be checking times for the next trains.
All right. Cisco kind of looks over his shoulder. He sees the presence of someone gathering close. You, of course, Hunter, see the same thing as you're talking to this gentleman. You just look like a casual individual with a newspaper in his hand. Nothing special. But you do notice that he's looking up at the clock. Cisco's looking up at the clock, and it's maybe 30 seconds. The second hand starts to move around the giant clock so it hits 1 o'clock. And he's got his eyes cast upwards, and he's looking at you like, "You don't want to do this. You don't want to do this here, man. I know you're a professional, but I can pay you." All right.
So you can. Everything goes quiet. The only thing you hear is the sound of the clock, 10 seconds away from hitting 1. Click, 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 click. You see a bead of sweat go down Cisco's forehead. You see a zoom in on the eyes of Hunter. They start to squint. Click, click, click. You can feel the tension on his trigger finger starts to swell. It's a squeeze. It's not a pull, it's a squeeze. Click, click. The sound explodes into an eruption. It's a sonic boom as the bullet leaves the chamber of the gun. The newspaper catches fire at the end. There, the picture of the mayor's face goes up in flame. Part of Cisco's face rips off. Underneath, there seems to be something reptilian.
Owens runs towards the sound of the gunfire, screaming, "I'm a doctor! Out of the way!" And as Cisco falls to the ground, Owens begins doing chest compressions on Cisco, at the same time putting his uh, metal chain and USB thumb drive into Cisco's pocket and pulling out the one that Cisco had. Uh,
You notice that Cisco's injuries, that there's no very little blood that you would recognize. It's almost like the innards of a fish, where the the back of his head would be, and it's spilling forth on the ground. You can see the human flesh, and underneath it there's a scaly reptilian flesh. It looks very bizarre, almost like if it wasn't for the fact that it was real, you'd almost swear that someone is this a prop? But you can feel the beating of his heart and the motion of the as his body begins to cool, as his body releases his fluids on the ground. It looks clear, almost gelatin-like in its appearance. And in the corner, you see one of the women that he was with. The raven-haired woman yells out, and she's like, "Oh my God!" And she snatches her hand away from the blonde woman, who instantly kicks off her heels, pulls out something that's looks strangely like a gun, but it's silver. It's got a cord to it. It seems like it's got some kind of a battery pack. And she makes her way into the ladies' room, pushing the raven-haired woman aside. She drops her coat, and she makes her way inside. And you notice that when she drops her coat, that she's got a gait, a running stance to her that does not put her as a weakling at all. But you've successfully exchanged the gold chain and thumb drive.
as people rush forward trying to help and others are running away, the next person that comes up close to Cisco, I let them take over and I instruct them in the beat and the rhythm that they need to continue. And as I talk to them, I slowly back away from them, moving towards the ladies' room and watching for security guards as they move around. I pull out a phone and very loudly start shouting, 911 emergency, but I haven't dialed anything.
The security guard in the corner gets off of his perch and makes his way over as people start to gather around. Others start running and running away from the scene, and he makes his way. He starts pulls his radio that's around his shoulder, turns it on, and you see him speaking into it, and all you hear when he clicks the radio is static, and you just hear. It's like, what's going? Hello, hey, I'm at post 37. I need help over here. And he makes his way. You can see that he cannot see clearly what's going on, but someone or something has jammed his radio. Outside, past the murmur of the people, the running of steps and things, you hear something that sounds like maybe a generator or a jet engine or something, and then you realize it starts to the sound starts to zero in, and you realize it's the sound of a helicopter.
Hunter hears whoop, 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 whoop of the helicopter. It punctuates every step that he takes as he walks towards the blonde-haired woman into the bathroom. Whoop, 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 whoop. As he walks into the women's bathroom, he sees women screaming. One was trying to put on makeup when the gunshot rang, and it smeared over the side of her face in some kind of Jekyll like appearance. When he walks in, He reaches over to the corner of his jaw. He feels the latex. He starts to peel off his mask. He sees the woman. She enters into a stall. He hears ch-ch. He comes over to the side. He kicks it in. Boom! There stands the woman. She's holding a shotgun. Fuck!
All right, all right. We're gonna grab some dice here. You are a charming spy.
Who kills with brutality.
All right. I think your spying and killing absolutely count for this scenario. So grab 3 dice.
Okay. And let's see how it goes.
All right, let's see it. All right. I get I get a 5 and a 3. All right. Boom, boom. That means success. Ooh, but it happens at the same time. All right. When you kick open the door, you get an instant where you see the woman in blonde. You can tell that she's got like maybe a wig on, so you can see her hairline is darker underneath. Doesn't have the heels. She's in her bare feet. It looks like she's pulled, like her short skirt has been pulled down. Maybe it was tucked. Maybe it was an outfit that was designed so that she could have more mobility. There's an device in her hand. It looks like a gun. It's attached to a power pack that seems to be inserted into her purse. It's got cords to it. She pulls it out. You see a burst of light. And the burst of light, and it fires off at you. At the same time, your gun goes off, and you can hear the crack as it impacts her and slams her against the tile behind her, cracking it. Same time, you feel an impact in your shoulder, fully expecting maybe a bullet or something to hit you. You wear bulletproof armor, of course, for these situations. You're expert at it. But it impacts your shoulder, and when it does, you feel like a burning sensation, maybe from either discharged from a stun gun of some sort, but there's a spike in your shoulder, and there's an electrical charge going through it. Not a normal stun gun at all.
I look down at my shoulder. I tear open my shirt, my bulletproof vest exposed. I see the woman. She has a gaping hole the size of Texas. I look over the spike, and from where it's entered in, it's starting to turn like a purple and green, and like bolts of lightning spreading over the side of my shoulder. My left arm goes numb. It falls dead at my side. Fuck. I slide it with my other arm into my bulletproof armor. I grab the woman's head. I lift it open. I look into her eyes. I just see a slit like a cat. I put the gun inside of her mouth. I say I never miss.
She the back of her head explodes as she holds up her hands, and she looks like she's
as the blood sprays on the back of the wall. It starts to drip down, and as it drips down, it reads Hunter Moore.
All right, Alan Moore and Frank. All right, Garth, you hear the slow but steady sound of what sounds like the helicopter blades from outside. The people are all scattering to the exits. The security guard comes over, stops when he sees the body, and kind of backs up a little bit, turns his back to it, starts telling everybody to clear the area, clear the area. He's trying to get on his on his radio. There's nothing. He screams, clear the area. Above uh, Grand Central Station, there is a catwalk where there are upper offices on the second floor, and it surrounds the entire region. You see, when you glance up, you see one of the doors open up where they have these outer offices, and you see people in dark uniforms, dark glasses, with things in their ear and cables going down into their shirt jacks with suits and ties. And they start moving with purpose around the area. They have black suits, dark gray, and they all seem to be built as if they were ex-football players. And they start moving around the upper catwalk or upper offices of Grand Central Station and making their way. They seem to be moving with such a purpose that people are flowing around them like they're stones in a stream. Okay.
Easy to spot. With these long years of experience, I immediately begin making my way towards the turnstiles and the trains. I pull a monthly pass out of my pocket and slide it over the turnstile and move towards the trains, trying to blend into the crowd.
Okay. You easily pass by. Even the train attendants, they're looking around as they see this flood of people trying to make their way in a panic state any way they can. You make your way to the trains, pass through the turnstile. Train, you can see the glow of the lights as it starts to turn a corner, make its way to the platform. You hear the telltale horn as it makes its way. Trains are, and you can feel the air pressure of the train as it starts to flow, and then it bursts through the platform. Feel the wind; it starts blowing trash and that kind of thing around, and you notice one of the homeless people that's basically sitting on the floor, wrapped in a jacket on the platform. People ignoring them, security not even bothering to move them, and you see the person look up as they see the crowd and looks directly at you. And when he opens his eyes wide, you can see his eyes blink sideways, like a cat or a lizard. And they blink sideways, and he gathers his items together, gathers his pack, gets his jacket, pulls his hood up to cover his face, and you can see he makes his way towards the end of the platform, away from the crowds, and trying to make his way down into the train platform area, into the subway tunnel itself. And he looks absolutely like horrified.
I've got to follow him. He looks like somebody I know. I've been on the streets for such a long time now. This has got to be one of my contacts.
Okay. As you make your way on the platform, the people are crowded, absolutely crowded. They want to get on the train, go home. They are not trying to stick around here. You see, he takes his dirty army jacket, knapsack, shoes filled with paper, pulls his hood up, and starts making his way down the short set of stairs that leads onto the tracks and down the dark pathway of the subway, of the trainway. And you notice as he's walking, he's got a gait like a person who's hunched over, looks back, and then straightens his back and starts moving at a quicker pace.
I'm going to call out to him and see if I can startle him, maybe get him to drop some of the things that he's carrying, and I'll rush him.
Okay. You call out, and you see he turns back to you, and he puts his hands up, and he presses himself against the wall, and as he's avoids the third rail, and he's just like, please, please, I didn't do anything. And you can see he's so panicked that his eyes go wide, and they almost comically turn round as they blink sideways, like a cat or a lizard, as he's just blinking his eyes, and he's blinking his eyes human wise, and then they're blinking sideways in a very nervous kind of reaction. And you can see that from under his very long, thick, worn army coat, that there seems to be some kind of appendage that comes from behind, maybe like it's whipping back and forth like a tail of some sort. And he stops in his tracks, drops the bag, and you can see he's kind of cowering from you, and looks extremely scared.
I'll try something I haven't tried in a long time and see if I can reach out to him with my mind, asking him to be quiet.
Okay.
And to not be afraid.
All right. And he stops, and he's like, oh, okay, and he puts his head down, kind of cowering from you, and you notice that let's have you roll a die for that, or two of them. I'm sorry.
All right. Let me know if you can see these, because I can't see them on my side.
Yeah, mine aren't showing up on screen either. I think it's with my settings. It just won't do it.
I've got a 4 and a 1.
Okay. So, you remember from or at least you think you remember from the experiments and such, and you can tell that he seems scared and frustrated as well, more so being like there's a sense of frustration that he's been found, but a little bit of relief. And you get these sharp images, fractured images from his brain, that you see what looks like starlight passing by, and sharp white lights flowing by in streams and colors, and suddenly they come into stark relief. The image starts to pick out a particular star. You see it come into sharp focus, and it's that really classic image of the Earth, big blue marble, white clouds, everything. Suddenly you feel yourself falling through, as the Earth gets bigger and bigger, turns into a big blinding light. Maybe it's heat or something. And suddenly you feel like your stomach is about to retch up all its food, as there's like no sense of gravity or motion, and then everything goes black. Suddenly, the scene, you see your eyes blink open, and from your vision, you see your eyes blinking strangely in a side manner, and you look up and you see many of these people around you, and you look around and you're like, what the hell? They look humanoid, but it's hard to make them out. Maybe they're lizard-like or something, but they're walking on their hind legs, and they look around at each other. They're gathering, you can see them gathering small bits of equipment shaped like small bits of silver Play-Doh, almost like they would fit very easily into a very strange shaped hand with claws. And they're gathering these items up, placing items on their back and into backpacks that they're hooking onto them, and they start scattering to the winds. You look down and you realize that you're injured and you can't move, and there are others like you that can't move. And you hear these trucks driving towards you, sound of open air Jeeps as they drive across, and you see what military vehicles come over. Military jumps out with M14s and metal helmets that are on top of their heads, and you swear, is this World War I? The gentlemen are wearing military outfits with MP on the shoulder and cloth spats over their boots, covering up the laces. And you can see the canteen on one side and bedroll on the other, across the back of their shoulders as they gather around these group of people, and you can see the horror in their faces and their eyes. And one gentleman has on very thick black standard issue glasses that are issued to members of the military, and he comes closer with a flashlight in one hand and a large rifle in the other, and he places it in your face, and you can see your own reflection in the glasses of the soldier that's coming towards you, who unslings the rifle and holds out his hand towards you. And what you see reflected in his glasses is the face of what essentially looks like an alien, a lizard individual. And then you break away from, your mind just breaks away from him, and he staggers back. The gentleman you're back into the subway. I mean, into the train tunnel. You stagger back. He staggers back from you, and he goes, "No, no!" And he starts to skitter away from you, on hands and feet, trying to run away. He drops his pack, drops his jacket, and runs for it on all fours.
I move forward and grab the pack and the jacket.
Okay.
I try to send as much as possible feelings of camaraderie and brotherhood and calmness to him. I'm trying to say to him, I'm one of you. But then I take his stuff and I back into the crowd.
Okay. Back on the platform, ladies' room door wedged open, a big mess inside of one of the stalls. You look outside and you can see that the crowd has started to leave, and there are gentlemen, standard issue government suits, ties, earpieces, thick shoulders, bulging biceps, and something even bulging under the arm, as these gentlemen are making their way around the platform of Grand Central Station. I was about to say 30th Street Station. Grand Central Station. You can see that the food court is starting to close up as these gentlemen are barking out orders to the owners, telling them to pull down their metal grates to cover up O'Charlie's and Mark Pies and Subways. And the people start making their way outside. Hunter, you may feel like you're being trapped.
All right. Flashback. 20 years ago. Hunter Moore is in 8th grade. He's being told the story of McCain and Forrest. 1863. Civil War. McCain has the greatest intelligence of all the generals of the South. But he's facing General Forrest. He has a huge hot air balloon that just streams up into the sky. And he has eyeglasses that peers out and looks over the station of the army. He has spies that go around the camp, and they feed out false bits of information to the oncoming army. You see McCain in his tent, surrounded by his advisors. It's late at night. The rain's been pouring for hours. There's a small fire burning, and they're smoking cigars. A private runs in. "Sir! Sir! Forrest is attacking." McCain leans up. "This is impossible. Not only do we outnumber them, but he's completely disadvantaged. We're here on top of the hill. What is he doing? What does he have that I don't?" And with this influx of information, having so much information, being completely in power, he freezes. He doesn't know what to do. The men are saying, they're attacking now, they're killing us, what are your orders?" But McCain is frozen. He's like, "Well, I know everything about this man. He's completely disadvantaged. Why would he attack? There's something I don't know. And he's defeated. There is always the fog of war. There's always something that stops you from having all the information. Hunter reaches into his pocket. He has a smoke grenade. There's always the fog of war. He tosses it outside the bathroom door. It bursts open. He moves like a snake through a garden over the loose, wet soil. He can hear the shots ring out like you're at a firing range. And he makes his way down to the subway. Shall we roll to see if he could go by unscathed?
Yeah, but I think you got it. All right. You. Yeah, grab 3.
Oh my god.
Yeah, you got it, but we'll see.
Bam! You got a 6.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you definitely. Yeah, you definitely succeed with style with that one. You hear, in addition to what you've done, you overhear the gentleman talking into the wrists with the earpieces that we found another cell. They are still among us. As they are the security guard that was covering Grand Central Station gets shuffled off. These G-men start sort of putting up yellow tape and surrounding the body and making calls that seem to be operating on a different frequency because their calls are going through. And they seem to be nonplussed about the fact that there's a body there until you threw this grenade, and smoke comes up, starts to fill the place. They start coming after you. Shots ring behind you as you run, and you're moving in slow motion as the shots start cracking off of the stone and marble pillars that surround Grand Central Station, and you dodge your way down the stairs and over the aisles and the turnstiles and into the train platform.
So you hear all the gun, like they're just peppering the walls, and you start to see him emerge from the smoke, and the silence comes in, and you hear a song start to play. Dun 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 dun, and he's moving in slow motion. He pulls out his gold iPhone 6, types in a text, "The bitch is dead," and you see him emerge from the smoke.
Oh man! On the platform, you see a gentleman, somewhat disheveled, and he has a military-style knapsack that's seen better days, and that is you, Garth.
I'm moving towards the train. My plan is to take the train one stop down, cross the street, get on the train, come one stop back, and watch what's happening from the other side. As the gunfire starts going off, I just start ducking and moving with the crowd, trying to get onto the train.
Okay. Hunter, you see the gentleman that did a quick change with the gold thumb drive. He when you come down the stairs and walk your way through the mist, you see he makes a quick jump onto a train that comes up to the platform.
Yeah, I see him. I got my phone out at the moment. I'm recording him, capturing his face. I zoom in. I upload it to headquarters. I'm going to need a full run-up on this. I send it over. The train starts to pull off. I jump down on the tracks. There's an empty door. I'm running as hard as I can. I want to see if I can get on the door and onto the train.
All right, you get a D6, and then anything you think is appropriate, for your narrative, you get an extra one. Convince me.
I can't think of a damn thing. Oh, all right. Spy training, burst of energy.
There you go. All right, go ahead. Go for it.
All right, I'm rolling one.
No, you get two.
All right.
No. You get another one.
Okay. You see, I'm running. It's like the sweat's just pouring down my face. I'm huffing and puffing. My arm is just like dead beside me, and it's flapping like a droopy child. Got a 4.
All right. So you succeed, but
All right,
so
I succeed. I grab onto the handle of the door, but my body's being dragged.
all right. Your arm's taking a beating there, buddy.
Yeah. The camera zooms in. You see my legs on the track, and I'm trying to pull myself up. My other arm is just dead beside me, veins popping out of my forehead. You see, there's a flashback of me at the gym. Here I am now.
Oh man. Okay. You inch your way up. You pull your legs up. You get onto the space that remains between both of the trains, but you're in the last car.
Yeah.
And you see the little flat box that you can open up the train door to get onto the train into the train car.
I look inside the cart. There's the punks, the kids, the woman with a skateboard. I knock on the door. You! I pull out money. It's $2.50s.
The kids are sitting there. They got their feet up. They're hanging on the bars. They're basically taking up far more space than they need to. Although it is in the middle of the night. One of them comes over. He kind of walks over, saunters over, sees the money, and he's like, "Oh wow, okay, dude." He's like, "Yeah." He comes over, boom, hits the button. The door slides open. You hear the pressure changes. The wind kind of blows into the train, kind of helps you inside, and you come inside of the train. And the kid's looking you up and down. He's got like the whole flock of seagulls thing going on. Like the hair's slicked back on the sides, but it's like puffed up on the top with a bunch of like really hard gel. He's got an old jacket on with like patches all over it, and he's got like boots that lace up like 50 eyelets because they come all the way up to his knees. And he's like looks you up and down, and he's like holds his hand out for the cash.
First thing I do is I grab the metal railing and I slide my ass down in one of these plastic seats. My hair falls over on the top of my face. I smack it back. I slick it back with my hand. I look up at him. I give him $100.
Okay.
I spit blood out on the ground. Hey kid. I look left. I look right. You got any of those footballs? You got any of those blue pills? I start pulling out money. I'm looking for some kind of like Oxycontin. This kid looks like a drug dealer to me, and I'm in a lot of fucking pain. So I want to try to use charming to buy drugs off the kid.
Okay, go for it.
All right.
He's not much, so he gets to roll one.
Okay.
Yeah, let's roll one. I rolled a 3.
2-2.
Ooh! Wow. Okay. So, well,
So when I go to open up and to get more money out, he sees the holster and the gun.
There we go. He reaches in his he sees the cash. He knows what you're hinting at. He's already ready to reach into his pockets, and when he looks down at you, he backs up. He's like, "Whoa, man. Hey, I don't want anything to have to do with that." And he kind of makes some hand gestures to his friends who are all loud and they're kind of ignoring him. And he starts making some hand gestures like, hey. And he points at them and you. He's like, "Dude's packing. He's got one." And you hear the click of someone pulling taking a knife and then clicking it out. and another one in the back. You hear somebody go like very dramatically takes the gun and like cocks it back and holding it sideways, and they start to surround you.
From my position on the train, I'm going to be moving back to the very last car so that I can pop open my laptop and pull out this thumb drive and check it out. When I start to get close to that back train, I can see the backs of the kids and guns starting to come out. I go, even though I'm an old guy at this point, I go right back into my military Marines training, bust open the door, and start wailing on the guy closest to me.
I say, I'm a goddamn federal agent. The person that I need to apprehend is just right behind me. I deputize all of you. Turn around!
They are not gonna. They're not gonna listen to you.
I say, listen here, you little fucks. If
You're a pretty intimidating guy.
I look at them. All right. You don't want to listen to reason? I'm going to tell you what's happened. And you see the lights on top of them. They're all fluorescent. They start to flicker. I pull up the gun and I shoot the lights.
All right. Let's grab our sixes. Everybody gets one. And then you can add as many as you think apply to the scene. And we're going to roll to see who goes first.
Okay.
Let's see.
All right, so this paralytic agent has started to affect me much more than I thought. It's hit me in my left side, so it's actually spread down into my heart, and my pulse is actually starting to slow. Do-do, do-do, do-do. Pretty low alert, guys.
Hey, Garth, what did you get?
I've got a 3, so... Is this for place an initiative?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So they get. I rolled a 6. They get to go first. They're itching for a fight anyway. It's late at night, and all they see are 2 victims, or 1.5. So what? The one that pulls the knife is going to go for you, Hunter. And he's more interested in what you have than trying to kill you. These are punk. I mean, they're rough and they probably deserve it, but he's going to go for your pocket. So he pulls a knife out, holds it up to you. He's like, "Come on, man!" And he goes to grab, brushing your jacket aside, and he's like, "Hey, give it up now. Don't go for it." And so he's going to reach in and grab your gun from the butt of the holster. And let's see. What are your spy? I'll give you the 3. You get to roll 2 dice. And I roll a 5 and a 6. Damn.
All right. I'm gonna actually use kills with brutality with this one as well.
Yeah, of course.
So I'm gonna roll 3 here.
Yep.
Picture this. He's about 17 years old. He's just been picked up by a man sitting at a park bench. The guy's bald-headed, gray-haired. He says, "So you're the quarterback?" And Hunter looks at him like, "Yeah, I am. And I see you got a 15/17 on your SATs." Now, this is like privileged information. He raises his eye, and the guy passes over the newspaper, and there's 3 letters that have been circled. The first letter is C. The middle one is an I. And the last one in association is an A. He's like, "How do you feel about serving your country?" So we have this little montage of Hunter being surrounded by 5 different assailants, each one with like a knife, a bat, a gun, and routine after routine after routine, he has to fight these people. So, in a situation like this, it all comes back in a hair. Let's see what he does.
All right.
Oh, he gets fucking stabbed.
All right. You instead of handing the gun over, you go for it. Like you know, instead of grabbing and handing it, you just grab it, pull it out, and the kid takes the knife and he like basically stabs you, trying to stab you right in the chest. Right? Doesn't do a very good job at it, but the knife does pierce the body armor, and he's got your gun hand held up. So you're like, hey man, whoa, what are you doing? Grabs it, boom, goes to stab you, goes in like you know, half an inch or so, doesn't pierce all the way through. So you're like, you've got a pretty good gash, you're like bleeding out, but the knife is stuck into your bulletproof vest, and he's got your gun hand like, hey man, whoa, and he like grabs it, and the one with the knife calls two of his buddies over. Another three, there's like six of them. So the other three turn their backs and they're going at you, Garth, like, hey,
Right.
you don't go away, man. Turn the other way. You don't have anything to do with this. As they start to surround you. One of them grabs some chain, starts to wrap it around his hand and use it like a makeshift brass knuckles. And he's like, you don't want to leave with one of these presents. And he goes to try to punch you in the gut.
I go right back into a Vietnam flashback. It's just like being in the jungle alone without my weapon, and I'm surrounded. I've got to fight with everything I've got to get back to my brothers. So I'm just going to go for it.
Okay. They're going to roll 2 dice. I roll a... Okay, there's no way... I'm clearing that out. I rolled a 5 and a 6 again. 1, 2. Did I... Okay.
Oh, you're getting messed up, man.
Jeez.
These kids, I don't know who they
Jeez. Okay. What'd you get, Garth?
I got a 4
That's pretty good. Okay. Wait,
for an old guy.
you sure that... You get to roll more than that. You automatically get to roll 1, and then whatever your narrative is. So you can...
Right, but I was going on my my Vietnam background that I had written down. I wasn't going for the hacker or the psionics, so I wasn't adding extra dice.
Okay. That no problem. The one with the makeshift brass knuckles, he's all bravado, no fear, comes over to you, boom, and like you're getting ready to defend yourself, and he pulls this really strange punch, like from someone that's not really trained to do it.
Mm.
Boom, right in the kidney, and you feel like your breath is let out. Nothing cracked. It seems like one of these things that he's probably done before to leave a nice big bruise to feel a little bit more pain, and it sends a good message to like a innocent bystander, and he just cracks you one, bam, and your knees feel like they're about to buckle, and he's like, hey man, get out of here now, unless you want another one.
Well, now I'm pissed, and now the heavy-duty military laptop that I've got is going to become a weapon and a shield.
Okay. And you guys get to act against them.
Go ahead, man.
Nice. All right, so
Oh,
Hunter's standing there, and he's dancing around with this kid, and he's holding up his gun like they're holding up like a bouquet of flowers that the bride has just tossed, right? Like they're two bridesmaids, and they're dancing around the train, and they're skirting around with a knife. Hunter's getting hit in the back by other people that are part of the gang, and he's taking it in the ribs and the spine and the back of the neck, and he starts pulling the trigger to the gun. Boom, boom, boom! And he's going to try to angle the kid at the open door and kick him out onto the line as the train's going.
okay. Go for it. I literally just rolled double ones. So, as long as you don't screw this up.
All right, so that's 2 3s and a 4. Do we just go with the highest, or?
Yeah, you just go with the highest.
All right,
No
that's a
Unless you choose a
success.
one.
All right.
Right, so- So one, two, and three is failure, and then four, five, six is success, and the higher you go, the better. So a four is success, and a
Right.
three is failure, but. So if you get a three, you can fail, but you get a little bit of success. And a four is like you succeed, but there's a little bit of failure in it.
All right. So here's what happens. All right. He kicks the kid right in his pelvis, and the boy's legs give out underneath him. He slides right out the door. But the paralytic agent has moved down into Hunter's spine, and his legs give out too. But he grabs just a corner of the door, and he's like flying out the side of it as the train's moving. And he sees the gang members move closer and closer towards him, like his eventual doom.
Cool. All right, Gar.
All right. Well, I'm an old guy. I mean, I'm 67. It's been a long time since Vietnam, but I just let the boxing training that I go through all the time, and I let the martial arts training just take over. I get into the moment.
All
I
right.
start using the heavy bulletproof laptop and just start smacking people with it.
Go for it.
A6.
Ooh, sweet. So you get success, and so you can make this as overly dramatic as you want. This is where you get to go full throttle. Like,
Right on. So
yeah.
the guy close to me with the chains, I lift the laptop straight up under his chin, knock him unconscious, glass jaw, boom. I swing right to the right, the laptop right into the guy's teeth next to me, boom. And I position the laptop next to block a blow coming in from the third guy. And I can hear his hand crack against the metal.
Okay. Bam! You smash him. Bam! You hit the one kid under the chin, and you can see like that slow motion spray of blood like come out of his mouth and just like splatters up against the ceiling of the car, and you hit the other two. Bang! Bang! And I mean they go down quick, and both of you, as these three thugs taken out. One falls out the back of the train, and who knows where the hell he got tumbled to. The other two are standing around like, what the hell? And the light around you seems to have changed because the subway car, I keep calling it a subway, train car should have reached an outdoor platform by now.
Mm-hmm.
But when you look back, it looks like the train maybe took a different path, and it starts to slow down. And the lighting in the area looks different as well. You're still underground, seems to be moving at a slower pace, and it comes to a stop. You can hear the hissing of the brakes. Steam starts to the hot energy from the brakes collapsing down and slowing the train down suddenly, enough to shift you a little bit but not knock you off your feet. The lighting looks bizarre because they're halogen lights, the type of lights that are used in construction areas to highlight areas so you can see everything in the dark. Outside the windows, you see hazmat suits, big yellow suits with zippers that go up diagonally, glass panes, hoses coming out of the back with backpacks, dark gloves on, completely zipped up. You look outside and you see 1, 2, what is it, 20 hazmat individuals. You see plastic, clear plastic, almost like bubbles or tents with computers. You can see what looks like a lab equipment and such. You see people with military outfits, and inside one of these plastic bins, you see these individuals, and they're standing there talking with people. You see something there with big, large head, larger than a human head would be, almost featureless nose, just almost two slits, small mouth, large, big eyes, and fingers that seem to have stretched almost as large as a foot, where the fingers have an additional digit on the end of them. He looks about maybe 5.5 feet tall, speaking with someone in a military outfit with many pins on their chest. And this being is pointing at the military individual, who seems to be having a very heated discussion, and is pointing at the train. And you can see on the table, it looks like the gentleman, maybe it could be a gentle lady, that left ran down the train alley, and it looks like their body is laying on a table. And around this place, you look around, and it seems like yet another alien species, and you see military individuals pull guns out, and they go, "Everybody off the train right now! Go into quarantine right now, everybody!" And they start surrounding the train. And we're going to start to close it out. So you guys, Phil, you can start to close out what your character does.
Sure, no problem. So, Hunter is laying there at the side of the train. The entire left side of his body has been paralyzed. He's become incontinent, and his body slumps over on the ground on the tracks like a sack of shit. Two people in hazmat suits come over. They have guns. They level it over in Hunter's face. He looks up at them. And there's his vision starts to blur. As it comes back to, he finds himself and he's laying on a table. It's cold, metallic. He has bonds on his arms, and he sees gray hands reach over in the object that's laying in his shoulder. He starts to pull out. He sees this piece of metal come out of the side of his arm, and when it does, he feels the pulse enter back into his hand. He looks up. It can't be what he sees. He sees these two gray figures moving closer. There's an apparatus that comes over the top of his body. It comes down into his abdomen, and he sees his stomach expand like a pregnant woman as it inflates. And he sees a light on the inside start to glow. His whole belly's pink. He's looking up, and he tries to prop himself up, and he notices that his legs have been detached. And he sees over in the corner that there's a being that's tearing apart his leg from the inside and replacing one of the bones. He passes out. That's the end of Hunter Moore.
All right, Garth.
Owen is completely grateful that Hunter had shot out the lights in this car, and he uses that darkness. He feels along the edges of the pack that he got from the homeless guy, pulls away some of the duct tape, takes the USB thumb drive with the gold chain, puts it in the center of the duct tape, places the duct tape underneath one of the chairs at the very back of the train car, and he begins to, while the two kids are standing stunned, not knowing what to do, Owen moves to the back of the train where Hunter has blacked out, gone unconscious, fallen to the ground. And Owen doesn't see anyone at the back of the train. The hazmat suits and the military guys all seem to be crowded around the main doors and are worrying about the people coming in and out. So he grabs Hunter underneath the arm and begins dragging him down through the darkness in the back of the tunnel.
Cool. As the military cleans up, they've um, um, essentially cordoned off this rail car. There's I'm giving you a scene. You're not actually at the scene, but it sets the stage for what may come in the future. And in an office building in New York City, overlooking, you see there's a gentleman looking out the window, hands behind his back, turns around, he's got a head of full gray hair. It's been around for a while. He turns back to his desk. Behind him are all glass windows. He walks to his desk and sits down, and before his desk are some people waiting. There are two figures sitting in seats. There are a few standing up, waiting for him to say something. He grabs a pen, kind of flips it around in his fingers, gets ready to say something, stops, waits, and he says, "It's been left to me for years to clean up this place of the invaders that have invaded our people. The fact that we have to work with those kind irks me to no end, but we must eliminate this threat. They cannot live among us." And you can see that the people before him, someone's on a computer, starts typing something on a computer, and he says, just Operation Equilibrium ready? And person on the computer, yes sir, yes sir. We're missing one strange component, but we will have the calculations done. And you can see there's a gentleman in military outfit, lots of pins on his lapels. You can see there's a badge on his shoulder, and you can see like the American flag. You see all the things, and then below that you can see what looks like what a classic alien head would look like, very large, bulbous, but it's done in a embroidered patch on his jacket, and you can see where it says under as a monogram underneath it. You can see where it says Area 51, and he says, "Sir, there's too many of them. What you're asking us is impossible." And the gentleman in white hair says, "For 3 generations, my family has been trying to uncover the secrets, the calculations, and algorithm. They got here using science and math. We will fight them using the same." And the young man on the computer lifts up the computer and turns it over, puts it on the desk, and you can see someone, looks like they're wearing military outfits, and they're at a gun range, and you see the gentleman's firing a handgun, and you can see in slow motion as the bullet flies down the path and explodes an apple, and you can see it in slow motion. Then you see the gentleman, he takes his eyes, he closes his eyes, and in one hand takes the gun and fires the pistol, and you can see the trajectory, heads towards the apple and spins around the apple and hits a bullseye on the opposite side of the apple. And underneath it you can see where it says Operation Equilibrium. Alright, we're going to close that out for this evening because it's kind of late. Thanks guys for taking part in this. I like to play fast and loose, but essentially that's how the rules work. You make up your adjective verb that nouns, adjective noun that verbs, I guess. Your statement. I love how Phil added into it, like kind of what I was trying to get across, where your narrative could change over time. So like Garth, like if we play this again, your narrative could change to, ex-Vietnam vet very easily. You know what I mean? So then so each game even that would change, and instead of having a level system, it's like a narrative change system, so that over time, you know, you or Hunter's new one could be, you know, paranoid about alien invasion, or, you know, something like that, you know, something really really slick. And um, the success failure portion of it, I didn't want it to be too, you know, I didn't want to get clunky and, you know, stick too hard to it. But essentially, like, failing is like from 1 to 3. Like, fail, if you roll a 1, it's you fail and. If you roll a 2, you just fail, and if you roll a 3, you fail, but, you know, you fail, but you get a little bit of success for it. And the same thing for 4, 5, and 6. If you roll 4, you fail. I mean, you succeed, but something else happens. You roll a 5, you succeed, and with a 6, you succeed and then the rest of it is just, you know, if you fail really bad, it's really dramatic. You succeed really well, it's just you can let loose with whatever you want to do. So, thanks, guys. We'll hopefully we'll do something like this again, or we'll hook up again, or whatever. I'm really glad I got a chance to game with you, Posey, because I really, we've crossed each paths plenty of times,
Oh, yeah.
and it's been like, wait a minute, I got a game with this guy, so we could do this again, or we could do something else, or if you have some other ideas or whatever, I really don't care. I'm very zen about it. So thanks again. So I'm going to say my goodbyes. You guys exit your way out, and then the broadcast will be off. So
All right.
I'm DBJ. My channel. Don't worry about spelling my name, but if you look up Bring Back the Magic under YouTube, you'll see a lot of my old videos. I've got about 150, 170 older videos down there. This is going to add to some of the new ones. I'm definitely going to add some more content, and thanks to anybody who watches this, and I hope you enjoyed it. Below, I will leave a link to the one-line RPG that I created. It should be able to fit on a 3x5 card, and that was my goal. So I hope it works out. You guys, take it on out.
Yeah, really cool system, man. I really appreciate you putting the time and effort into streamlining this and making it as fast and fun as it was. And big props to you, man. Thanks a lot.
Hi, my name is Philip Posey. I run the channel Maps and Dragons, and I want to say thank you for letting me play tonight. I think next time, if I play Hunter more, he will be an amputee spy who kills with brutality, otherwise known as the amazing Mr. No Legs. Yeah, this was a ton of fun. I thought the narrative agency in this was high. The fun was high. I really liked the system. I really think there's a lot of room to explore. I loved it. Thank you very much for having me. I've wanted to game with you for over a year now. I'm glad we finally got in a game. I hope that we do many more. Thank you very much for having me.
You're very welcome, and that is it. Thanks, guys, and everyone out there, have a good day, good morning, good evening. I'll stop.